I was very proud when the Dean of the Faculty of Law of Monash University invited me to become the patron of the Monash Legal Challenge. It's a very innovative step and it deserves commendation and appreciation. I'm sorry I can't be there at the grand final. A patron really ought to be there on such an occasion, but alas, it's not possible. And accordingly, I'm speaking to you in this disembodied form to express appreciation, congratulations and thanks. Justices of the High Court of Australia are actually quite accustomed to being disembodied. In fact, some people say that in the next century we'll only make appearances in electronic and disembodied form. At the moment, an important part of our work in the special leave applications involves working to cameras which provide a video link from one side of Australia's continental country to another, from Darwin and Brisbane and Perth and Hobart to the great court building in Canberra where we hear the cases. This is the future, and so the future is with us tonight. I remember very vividly the first day I had experience in a courtroom. It was in fact within a few days of my beginning my labours as an article clerk. And I went with my barrister up to the courthouse with the client with us. It was a compensation case, and I believed the case for my client with all my heart and soul. At the other end of the bar table when we arrived at the court was a very elegant and impressive young barrister, Mr. Gordon Samuels. Later, he was to be one of my judicial colleagues on the New South Wales Court of Appeal, and later still, the Governor of New South Wales. Mr. Samuels had two things going for his case. The first was his great skill in cross-examination, which he displayed with forensic flair. And the second was a film which showed my unfortunate client doing things which he told the court were completely beyond his capacity. Needless to say, Mr. Samuels won, and my first case was a loss. I say this in consolation to those who, in the Monash Legal Challenge, may not have succeeded. You can't win every case. What I like about the Monash Legal Challenge is the way in which it introduces young people to the way courts operate, but does so in the best tradition of good instruction. It teaches by a process that is enjoyable. You learn more, and you certainly learn more quickly, if you enjoy what you're doing. And the objective of this very interesting innovation in education is to ensure that young people understand what it is to be in a courtroom, why the rules of evidence exist, the etiquette of a courtroom, and the difficulty of many decisions that have to be made by courts. But beyond experience in understanding courts and how the law operates in practice, there is a marvellous opportunity for young people to appreciate the civics of our Constitution and the institutions of courts, which are such a vital part of the constitutional arrangements of a country such as Australia. But also, it helps them to think laterally and to think on their feet and express themselves with confidence, which is an important thing not just for an advocate, but for citizens generally. As this competition comes to a conclusion, it's appropriate for me, as patron, to express a few thanks to the many who have participated and contributed to its success. First of all, to the teachers, the schools, the principals, who had the imagination to embrace this new idea, to use the teachers' kits to help themselves to instruct people on how the law operates in practice, and to take part in a most enjoyable enterprise. To all of them, I say a heartfelt thanks. It's also appropriate for me to express thanks to the members of the legal profession. The legal profession are sometimes criticised, but many people don't realise the very large contribution which its members make to community projects such as this. To the lawyers who took part in judging the competition in its earlier rounds, I say thanks. To the Law Institute of Victoria and the Young Lawyers Group of that institute, and to the Bar Council of Victoria, and also to the Australian Institute of Advocacy, who have all contributed to the success of this enterprise, I express my thanks. It's also appropriate to thank Monash University Law School. It's one of the great law schools of Australia, and I visit it as often as I possibly can. It was the Monash Law School which conceived and implemented this idea. It's an innovative idea, and it's one which I fully expect will spread from Victoria in Australia to the other parts of Australia and indeed internationally, because it's an idea whose time has come. It's one which presents to young people, young citizens, the opportunity to get to understand the actual way in which the law operates. The Monash Legal Challenge is, in a sense, an illustration of an even greater legal challenge, which is before our citizens. It is to involve citizens in the law so that they understand its strengths and realise that it, being human, has weaknesses. And that really is the lesson that I hope the young citizens take away from their experience in the Monash Legal Challenge. That it is their privilege as citizens to defend the Constitution and appreciate its strengths, but it's also their privilege to take part in the reform of that which can be reformed and to ensure that they hand on to their children a legal system of which they can be proud. It's in that sense that I offer my heartfelt congratulations to all who've taken part in this innovative step. It's a wonderful experience. I hope it's been fun, and I hope you'll take good memories of it and of the law into your future role as citizens.